Hello and welcome back. You know that story in Genesis, right? Three mysterious guys show up at Abraham's tent? Well, what if I told you that that simple visit was actually a peek under the hood into the universe's hidden operating system? Today, we are diving deep into what the Zohar says about this. And trust me, it reveals an absolutely breathtaking cosmic blueprint.
Right, so here's our game plan. We're going to start with the scene itself, set the stage. Then we'll pull back the curtain on this core mystical rule the Zohar gives us. One angel, one mission. After that, we'll get into the really cool stuff, the Sephirotic color code that was actually powering everything. We'll trace the whole mission from A to Z, and then we'll translate it all into a couple of modern ways of thinking you can really grab onto. By the time we're done, you're going to see the story in a whole new light. Not just some visit, but a masterclass in how divine action works.
Okay, so let's picture this. We're in Genesis chapter 18, and the Torah makes a point of saying it's the heat of the day. You know that feeling when everything is still, almost like the world is holding its breath? And right in that moment, there's Abraham, sitting by his tent. And he's not just chilling out, he's actually recovering. He's vulnerable, He's just gone through his circumcision, this covenant literally carved into his own body. And he looks up, and through that wavy heat haze, boom, three figures are just there. The whole moment is electric, full of meaning, but also just, who are these guys? And get this, the text says he ran to meet them. Think about that for a second. Here's this patriarch, this leader, in pain, recovering, and he runs. There's this immediate urgency. He knows, deep in his bones, this is not just some casual drop by. He doesn't wait, he doesn't second guess it. He feels the spiritual gravity of the moment before anyone even says hello. Running in his condition, that's all about his incredible spiritual sensitivity. He's seeing past the physical forms and recognizing the divine mission walking towards him. The whole story kicks off with that powerful, intuitive gut feeling. So this naturally leads to the big questions, right? The same ones people have been asking for centuries, the ones the Zohar finally cracks open. Who were these three men? And really, why three of them? Why not one? Why not five? The number three, you have to understand, is never random in these texts. It's always a sign of a complete, balanced dynamic. Think about it. Beginning, middle, end. Thesis, antithesis, synthesis. It's the blueprint for balance, just like the three columns on the tree of life. That number three, it's the key that's going to unlock this whole mystery for us. All right, so the very first secret the Zohar reveals is these weren't men at all, not even close. They were angels, divine emissaries just wearing a human disguise. And their appearance immediately teaches us a fundamental rule, like a non-negotiable protocol for how heaven gets things done. We're not talking about beings with free will like us. These are pure conduits of divine intention, basically personified functions of a cosmic system. And the Zohar even gives us their names. Michael, the one rooted in divine kindness. Gabriel, the agent of divine judgment and severity. And Raphael, the emissary of healing and harmony. Three totally distinct beings, each sent for a very specific, singular purpose. Even their names tell you what they do. Michael, who is like God. Gabriel, the strength of God. And Raphael, God is healed. Their job description is right there in their name. And this right here is the absolute key to everything. One angel, one mission. This isn't because angels are limited or can't multitask. No, it's about the very physics of spiritual energy. The Zohar is teaching us that these divine functions are so incredibly pure, so potent, that you simply can't mix them. The energy of life-giving blessing, which is all about expansion, cannot possibly be channeled by the same agent channeling destruction, which is all about contraction. It would literally cause a spiritual short circuit. Cosmic order demands that each function remains pure. A great way to think about this is in modern tech terms. Imagine you're running a massive critical operation. You wouldn't try to run everything on one single overloaded computer, right? Of course not. You'd build a distributed system using microservices. Each little service or agent has one single job. It does that job perfectly and doesn't interfere with any of the others. Well, that's divine efficiency. Each angel is like a single-threaded agent programmed for one specific task. And together, they form this perfect, distributed system to execute the cosmic plan. They work in parallel, but their core code never, ever overlaps.
Okay, so if each angel is a super specialized agent, what exactly is the energy they're channeling? This is where we go another layer deeper into the mechanics, into the Sephiroth, the tree of life. These are the 10 fundamental ways the divine expresses itself and interacts with our world. So each angel's mission wasn't just a to-do list item. It was a direct physical manifestation of a specific Sephirah, each with its own energy signature, which the Zohar beautifully describes as a color.
Let's really break this chart down because this is the heart of the cosmic blueprint. Michael's job announced the birth of Isaac. That's a mission of pure, unadulterated blessing. So it maps directly to the Sephirah of Chesed, boundless kindness, which is symbolized by the color white. Then you have Gabriel. His mission, the destruction of Sodom, a harsh, severe act of strict judgment. This flows straight from Gevurah, or severity, symbolized by the color red. And finally, Raphael. His mission was to heal Abraham. And healing is all about balance, a perfect mix of kindness and severity. That is the Sephirah of Tiferet, harmony, symbolized by the color green.
So when Abraham looked at Michael, what he was seeing, what he was perceiving with his spiritual senses, was the energy of Chesed. Picture a brilliant, pure white light, the kind that contains all other colors within it. This is the energy that creates, that expands, that gives without limit, which, by the way, is exactly who Abraham was, the pillar of Chesed. It's the force behind every blessing, all good news, the promise of new life. That was Michael's frequency, and his alone.
And then, in total contrast, you've got Gabriel embodying the energy of Gevurah. This is the color red. Think of the intensity of fire, the sharp focus of a laser beam. This is the principle of limitation, of drawing lines, of removing what has become corrupt so that the whole system can remain healthy. This is what's known as din, strict judgment. And yeah, it's a severe energy, but in the grand cosmic scheme, it's absolutely necessary. Without Gevurah, the infinite kindness of Chesed would just overwhelm everything.
And Raphael? He was the synthesis, the middle path. The Zohar tells us his color is green, the color of life, of restoration. He represents Tiferet, which sits right there on the central column of the tree of life, perfectly balancing Michael's white light of Chesed on the right with Gabriel's red fire of Gevurah on the left. It's that precise harmony that creates healing, that restores a system to perfect balance. You could say green is what you get when you mix pure light with firm structure to create something that can actually live and thrive. So now that we know who the players were, what their specific functions were, and the power source they were tapping into, let's actually trace the mission, the project plan as it unfolded, because the sequence of events in the story isn't just a random narrative, it's a perfectly logical step-by-step deployment of these three distinct energies happening in time and space with absolute precision. Yeah, you can see the project unfold in these really clear phases. Phase 1, all three angels show up. The complete system is deployed. The first two objectives, healing and announcing, happen right there at Abraham's tent. Raphael does his thing, mission complete. Michael delivers his message, mission complete. And then you get this critical pivot in phase 4. Michael leaves. His job is done. The energy of blessing isn't needed for the next part of the op, so the team of 3 becomes a team of 2, who then head off towards Sodom.
And this number is so important, 2. The Bible is very explicit here. It says, "And the 2 angels came to Sodom in the evening." The text itself flags the change for us. So why did the third one just vanish? It wasn't him just deciding to head home early. It was a programmatic deallocation. Michael, the agent of kindness, the agent of blessing, had finished his task. His continued presence wasn't just unnecessary for the judgment of Sodom, it was energetically incompatible with it. You can't have the force of pure creative life hanging around during an act of pure deconstruction.
And the Zohar spells it out for us plain as day. It says Michael, representing the right side, the side of Chesed, went up with the Shekinah, the divine presence that had been revealed to Abraham. His job was over. The system, with perfect efficiency, just terminates his process, and the remaining agents, Gabriel and Raphael, carry on to the next objective. This isn't just a story, people, it's a divine flowchart. It's showing us how these spiritual forces are deployed and then withdrawn with perfect, flawless timing.
Okay, to make this cosmic logic crystal clear, we're actually going to retell this whole sequence through 2 completely different lenses. First, through a modern video game quest, and then through a cosmic engineering framework. They're just different languages, different analogies to describe the same profound underlying truth about how our universe actually works. Exactly. For all the narrative, visual thinkers out there, we'll frame it like a 3-player co-op video game quest. And then, for all the systems and logic-oriented people, we'll map it out using a cosmic engineering framework. They both lead to the same destination, the same truth, just taking different paths that appeal to the different ways our brains like to process complex ideas. Okay, so imagine you just booted up a new quest. Your 3-player party arrives. You've got Raphael, he's the healer class with a restore health ability. Michael is your paladin, the holy knight bringing blessings, so his special move is prophecy of life. And Gabriel is your heavy-hitting warrior, maxed out for judgment. So first objective, the healer uses his ability, tops off Abraham's health bar. Quest objective complete. Next, the paladin delivers the prophecy scroll. Quest objective complete. Now, since his part of the mission is done, the Paladin's player logs off and returns to the main celestial hub. The warrior and the healer, who has a side quest to rescue Lot, travel to the next zone, the Sodom instance, to face the final boss. Now, let's switch gears and look at this through a cosmic engineering lens. A project is initiated by a divine command deploying 3 highly specialized, single-threaded agents. Their functions are strictly isolated to prevent any energetic interference or signal corruption. At Abraham's location, we see parallel processing in action. The healing and announcing tasks are executed concurrently for maximum efficiency. Upon task completion by Agent Michael, his thread is terminated. He's deallocated from the operation. Why? To maintain system purity. The agent of Create Life cannot be active during the Execute Judgment phase. It's a perfect, clean, and incredibly efficient execution. So, when we zoom all the way out, what's the big picture here? What have we really learned? We started with what seems like a simple story of 3 visitors, but we've ended up with a profound revelation about the fundamental architecture of reality itself. The Zohar is using this story as a masterclass to show us something huge about the universe we live in, taking us way beyond the literal narrative to the principles that govern everything. And that, right there, is the ultimate takeaway. This was never just about angels. It's about living in a reality that is intelligently designed and flawlessly executed. What might look to us on the grounds like a coincidence or a random encounter is actually, from a higher perspective, a meticulously planned and coordinated operation. Every force has its specific purpose, every event has its proper place, and it's all part of a symphony of cosmic order that's usually just beyond our ability to see. The world is constantly speaking to us in this deep structural language. And that's the question that brings this whole deep dive right back home, to each of us. If one single encounter in the Bible contains this much depth, this much precision, this much hidden intent, it really forces us to ask a pretty powerful question about our own lives, doesn't it? What if the events unfolding for us, the challenges, the blessings, the people who show up seemingly out of nowhere, are also part of a much larger, unseen, and perfectly unfolding divine plan? Thank you for joining us for this complete journey through the Pardes. We hope these ancient truths help you and your family improve your own dimensions this week. If you enjoyed this full chapter deep dive, please like, subscribe, and share which part of the journey touched your soul in the comments. We'll see you in the next chapter.